It just seems we can't have nice things. Another day, another studio closure. Warner Bros. Discovery has just recently shut down developer Monolith. You might remember them most from the first two Fear games, and of course the two very well received Lord of the Rings Middle-earth games, Shadows of Mordor and War. They were for the last few years developing a new Wonder Woman game, which has now also sadly been cancelled. This has been a horrible trend in the last few years of studios having developers work years on a game that just never ends up being released and then just being laid off for all of their hard work. These developers were the creators of the famous Nemesis System from the Middle-earth games. Simply put, it was a gameplay mechanic in which enemies remember previous encounters with you. These, antagonists in the game, usually they were like orcs, Uruk-hai, in the Lord of the Rings games would remember being defeated by you and grow stronger out of spite and rise through the orc ranks to become stronger for your next encounter. Different dialogue things would happen and so on and so on. It's arguably one of the best new gameplay mechanics created in recent years, and it sadly hasn't been used since. What makes this even worse, and the main talking point of the video I'm making today, is the fact that Warner Bros. Discovery patented the system in 2016, and it is active until at least 2035, 2036. What's odd is that after patenting this mechanic, they only used it once for Shadows of War, the sequel to, Mordor, and it's been dormant for 9 years now, not using it for any other games in their catalog. And the fact this system can only be used by this publisher is ridiculous and such a waste for gaming as a whole. Nintendo is guilty of the same thing, but instead of suing over the visual similarities between, Pokemon and, the Palworld's pals, they basically sued for patent infringement. One of the patent violations appeared to be for the mechanic of throwing a ball to catch monsters. Originally, Palworld allowed players to catch monsters by throwing, spherical objects. But since the lawsuit, that mechanic was removed, which just makes Nintendo a whole new level of greedy and petty, which I didn't think was possible for them. Now, patenting game mechanics isn't anything new, sadly, as it has been done in the past. It's just more well-known now. EA, for example, when they patented the dialogue wheel used in BioWare's Mass Effect and Dragon Age series, which I think is still patented to this day. And with the state of BioWare, has been for the last decade, it just seems like a waste that other studios could be benefiting from. Or even Square Enix, where all the way up to 2010, they held a patent on the active time battle system from Final Fantasy. Imitation is the finest form of flattery, but in the gaming world, that doesn't seem to be the case, where these greedy publishers, after coming up with a good idea or mechanic, just want to lock it to themselves or their games, even if they never use the damn things. Like the Nemesis mechanic. Can you imagine the kind of games we might have had if things were different with some of these patents that we're just now discovering? Now, this has been going on for a while, it's just now it's more well known. It's coming out to the light of how these things that we love in certain games we're just not seeing anywhere else because these greedy corporations just don't want to share, the love. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents on the whole thing. I hope these, quote unquote gameplay mechanic patents don't become a normal thing in this industry, as it just stifles creativity. Can you imagine if something like, say, turn-based gameplay was patented and only one company could do it? That's just crazy to me. I hope the employees of the studios that WB unceremoniously, just closed, find work soon. It's just a shame we'll never get to see the work on the Wonder Woman game they were developing. Here's hoping the other superhero games in the pipeline make it to fruition, like the Captain America game, the Wolverine game, the Blade game. But anyways, thanks again for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. Talk to you next time.